We're out in the Queen Creek area today. What a nice day to go flying. Weather's perfect. There's a little bit of air traffic coming into Williams Gateway. Some vehicle traffic. Other than that, it's a nice day. So I'm setting up here. Setting up the Matrice 4 Enterprise for a mapping flight. I will go into detail in a separate video all the equipment that I use and how I use it. So I'm just going to touch on it based, in generalities, or simplified in this video just a little bit of it. So right here, I'm setting up the RTK, or correction, setting up the inlet RS2 for RTK. It's a nice little GPS unit. It's inexpensive and it works well. So I do put a target on the ground to put the bipod on. That just gives me the option to do static if I need to, and then process it through Opus to get a position. The target will help me to find the exact location on the ground. So it's just more for alignment and potential usage if I need to go to that static option. For this project, I won't need to do that. I just set it up this way out of habit, just in case. I do have GCPs that were set by the surveyor that I will constrain our flight to, and the processing of the imagery and the surface file. So now I'm just getting the drone out, get it all set up and going. It does set up quite quickly in comparison to other drones I've used, like the M600, which is a giant drone. That one took like half an hour to get it set up and getting ready to go, even for short flights. This Mavic 4 Enterprise only takes a few minutes to get out. I'm just moving slow today because I'm enjoying being out and not in any hurry. And so I do, when I get opportunities like this, I do move slow, and just so I can extend the fun and the joy that I'm having. So I'm getting the battery set up, getting it turned on, getting the controller turned on, checking the settings. I do go into detail on all of this stuff in a series on the Matrice 4 Enterprise with links in the description. I'll cover a little bit of the flight parameters here. I have an online flight parameters app. It's at this address right here, cc4w.net/fp/pound-page-3. Will bring you right straight to it. This has several popular drones that are being used for survey mapping. I use the Matrice 4 Enterprise on this project that we're looking at here, and my default overlap is 66%. Capture rate's 2 seconds, and AGL 200. That's a sweet spot for this drone. And so the flight speed just kind of helps extend the battery life, and you can fly a lot more acreage. And this drone is capable of flying at 2 seconds. 200 AGL is that sweet spot. Over years of testing different AGL, 200 is a good one. and it gives us a ground sample distance of 1.62 centimeters, approximately 6 images per acre. So now it's going through the settings here to get the GPS to talk to the controller that will send over the corrections from, or will utilize the corrections. So I have to cycle through the settings sometimes in order to get the inlet to connect to the controller so that it can utilize the corrections from the drone. Well, it actually sends them to the drone so that when the drone's flying, as it's snapping and storing each image, it will utilize the RTK position of the image, and each image then will be relative to each other based on this RTK. Now the RTK is not on a known data system or the project datum. It is autonomous position, and so once it gets locked into a position, then that is what the controller will use to, it will provide the adjustments to the drone as it snaps the pictures. What that really does is that it makes the EXIF data on each of the images. It will take and correct them so that they're relative to each other and make it a tight configuration, and it's usually within the hundreds, vertically and horizontally. I do check the residuals before I start flight just to make sure everything's working well, and so those images will come out with good geographic locations for processing. Now it is autonomous, so that means the positions are not going to be, like I mentioned earlier, they're not going to be on the datum for the project. However, we do have GCPs which were set on the project datum. So as we go through the processing of the imagery in Metashape Pro, it will take and adjust those positions to fit them to the project datum, both vertically and horizontally. All this RTK setup does here is to help with the EXFI data on each image to keep them more accurate. Now, if we didn't use RTK, the positions, each image would be floating around somewhat. So there will be a difference in the images, their location, and those can get sorted out as well with the GCPs on the ground. It just kind of having RTK just kind of helps speed that process up a little bit. As you bring the images into Metashape Pro, you will take and align them, and then the software will take and analyze the pixels on each image and make some adjustments to the imagery or tie points so that the imagery does align. It's also called, there's another term, bundle adjustment in some software. So it aligns the images. The images then are somewhat in a better position than non-RTK positions, but with RTK they're way closer, so that they will process better, or quicker, not quicker. Quicker is what I mean. So now we've got some people showing up on the site. This is the city showing up on the site to do some inspection, I assume. So I got the flight done. Now I'm back over to the Avata 2 to get some video. This is where I put the headset on, the goggles, and the motion controller, and I just sit back and relax and fly around and have fun. So this is the part I really like doing. I like doing all of it. I like doing the planning, the mission planning, getting things done to the specifications from the flight parameters for the sensor, getting that all planned. I go into great detail on that in the Matrice 4 Enterprise. There's 4 sets of videos that I do or have done that you can go review to see how that is done in detail. I'm just going to explain it kind of briefly here, like the flight parameters, which I did previously. And so now I'm going to take and just sit back, fly around, capture some video, and basically just kind of finish this flight out, having fun. I do go out and I get the technical part done with the Matrice 4 Enterprise. I get it done first. That way I'm not stressed about all the equipment working right, dodging airplanes and air traffic. There's more air traffic out here than I had thought there might be. We're just south of the Mesa Gateway Airport. We are out of the controlled airspace, but we're really close. Planes are coming in from the south, and they are somewhat low. So I haven't had to pause my flight, but they are 200 or 300 feet above my 200 AGL that I flew earlier. So now we got more construction traffic driving through. So I can hear them, and I can take and turn. The goggles does have cameras in the front where I can take and turn it on, like look through, and I can see everything that's going on outside. I generally just listen and I focus on flying the drone. So we're going to show that flight coming up here in a minute. I'm just kind of at this stage, I'm just kind of just flying around, just kind of relaxing a little bit before I wrap it up. So I do fly the Avata 2 in FPV mode, not manual mode, but I do use the GPS stabilization. It's much more, for me, it's much more fun. I've tried the manual flying. It does work, and there are people that are really good at it and don't mind the extra stress. To me, it stresses me out somewhat, because knowing that you have to continually fly, you can't just release the controls and it will stop and hover. You have to continue fly it, and it will fall to the ground if you're not careful. And it will fly faster when you're flying in manual mode, because you can really get to going really fast. But I'm flying the video so I can use it for not just only posting on YouTube, but for also when we prepare and do the planimetrics and surface file. I can look around and kind of see some things going like, well, what was happening right there? I can go up to the video and I can take a look and see just what is really going on. I mean, picture's worth 1,000 words. We've heard that saying years and years. So it is, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and the video's even more, because you can back it up, you can move it around. I'm looking forward to getting Avata 360 so that I can turn the view or the frame and look all around. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I do have the Osmo 360, and I have played with some of that footage. the files are huge because it's like capturing two cameras. And so the file is quite large, and you got to have the equipment to be able to handle that. So I will be doing some future 360 videos as soon as I figure out how to get it uploaded to YouTube. Those will be kind of fun to check out. But here I'm just flying up and down. This is where we're going to be putting in the new sewer line and doing the mapping portion. So I'm just capturing it a couple of times here, just cruising around. Got some birds chasing me. I always have birds when I fly this low. So one thing that's nice about flying with the goggles is you can see the power line. So now I'm cruising up and down the roads here. We're not doing anything as far as sewer line up and down those roads or any of the mapping. I'm just flying it just to get a visual on it, just in case the client does come back and ask for something. At least we have some video that we can show them if we need to. There is quite a bit of car traffic out here as well as airplane traffic, which is kind of surprised me being back in this area. It's just a little landlocked, or it's right up against the Indian reservation. So there's quite a bit of traffic, which is fascinating, I guess. So I'm doing some trying to learn how to do the narrating as I'm flying, and also in post doing some narrating as I'm flying around. It seems to be more in line with what people are looking for, instead of just playing background music. You can see here there is some construction going on the north side of where I'm at. The south side has been cleared, but nothing has really started moving there yet. I'm sure it will. These are all private lots, and so it will get built, and this area is growing. It's just standard process out here in this part of this area, Queen Creek area. So now I'm just flying around, kind of just capturing a few things. Sometimes I will fly low, and like in that creek, I may fly that later. Who knows? Anyway, as we're cruising around here, let's go back over the flight parameters just a little bit. I've done extensive testing over the years with many different drones and sensors, and that's how I come up with, I've flown them like 50 AGL, 100 AGL, and so all the way up to 400 AGL with a single sensor, just to kind of get a feel for it, and then run it through the processing. Man, I have a site down in Casa Grande, my daughter's place, that I have permanent target set, and ran some R2K and direct levels on for the vertical. And I have flown that site so many times and processed it so many times, so I have a good data set to compare against. And so that has given me the numbers that I need to see so that I can run the standard deviation and do the comparison between the different AGLs and the different sensors. With that, I plotted it in Excel and got some graphs and looked at it, and I was able to determine that 200 AGL is generally the sweet spot. That keeps us below the 2 centimeter ground sample distance. That's kind of our manned aircraft can get down to 2 centimeter ground sample distance. It is a little more expensive to fly that low to get that with their sensor. As we generally fly, we can only go to a minimum of 1,000 AGL with the aircraft. So the sensor that's on that aircraft can get to 2 centimeters, but it increases the number of images, increases flight time, increases the cost. So the drones kind of come in when we need something that's below 2 centimeters. That's generally when the drone kicks in. And it's also, we call it at 200 acres or 1,000 images. That's kind of the trade-off or the break-even point doing it with drone or doing it with manned aircraft. So it's been quite fortunate that I've been able to work with Cooper Aerial and to be able to test those items as well to find out which platform and method is best and is economical for the client. And that's the trade-off. That's where it's at, is 200 acres. Now that if we had more computers and more software, we could go up higher. It takes a while to process 1,000 images in order to get it into our workflow. And with the hardware that we have, that 1,000 images is kind of that cutoff. So now, so you can see the construction there that's going on, residential, nice, going to be a nice home. A lot of nice houses out here. So I'm kind of winding up here and I'm going to be coming in for a landing, so I'm just kind of circling around, kind of getting things set up so that I can come in. I do like doing the landings. That's my favorite part. So I am getting set up here to come in on a right downwind to my landing pad. So I'm going to make a fairly large approach. I can do a fast, short final approach. So I'm going to do a long one here just because it's a little more fun. And it's slow. There's no hurry. So as I circle around here, I'm coming in. I can see my vehicle up there getting lined up, kind of coming in on like a 3-degree glide slope, which is kind of like what I did with manned aircraft. So kind of a standard approach here, coming in, and there we go. Thank you for watching my videos on survey mapping made simple. To see more, like and subscribe.